Episode 8, Rich and Ben, the Sober Men, the podcast. We are coming to you remotely this week, aren't we, Ben? So we're normally in the studio, as you know, but we couldn't quite align our diaries, so we decided to do this one remotely, and then I'm going to be in Europe for a while, so we're going to do it next 2 or 3 remotely, and then we'll be back in the studio. Ben, how are you, my friend? I can see you nice and clear on my screen. You're looking beautiful.
As are you, Rich.
You've had a haircut. Tell me about that.
Well, mate, as you know, I was going to go for the flow look, Abercrombie and Fitch, and at one point I got back from work and I looked like Worzel Gummindge, and Rita was like, "It's got to go," and I was like, "You know what? You're dead right. Honestly, I looked all sorts of wrong. You know, there's caps you can buy at usually American theme parks with the long hair sticking out. It was like that. I was like, oh my God. So yeah, emergency haircut, but yeah, feel good about it. But it's so funny. Like we've mentioned, we've both had hair transplants, but you know, even now, that's 3 years ago, but taking a photo of some really good looking bloke in, which interestingly Rita has sourced and found. She's like, I'll go for that. I'm like, oh yeah, cheers. Some hot, middle-aged American model. Taking that into the hairdressers is such a funny feeling because I'm just not used to it, saying, oh, can I have my hair like this, please?
I remember doing that as a kid. You take a photo, and I think my mum was always like, "You should have it like George Michael. Look at George Michael; he's got such flowing locks." But it just reminded me. I had a haircut too this week, and for the first time, this made me feel really middle aged. For the first time ever, the guy that was cutting my hair, he went at the end, "Do you want me to do your eyebrows as well?"
Well, don't joke. It's like eyebrows. It's nostril. Have you ever had that done at the barbers? They stick up the cotton buds up your snout.
No, I've never had that. I didn't know that was a thing. I know they do the wet shave and cover your face in the towels and that. And I've never had my eyebrows done before. Because I said, "Do they need to be done?" He went, "Got a couple of long ones there. I can get rid of that for you," which he did. But I've never. He's never.
Well, if you do,
he never said to me, "Do you want me to-"
If you do go for the nostril option, the nostril cleanse, then just brace yourself. My week's been good. It's been busy. Gosh, the freelance life, mate? It's kind of bonkers, isn't it? But thank God I'm sober because I've had, again, the patience, the maturity almost to deal with it. And what I do, I just sort of tick off each stage of each day because it just helps me. If there's a lot on, if it's can be quite overbearing sometimes, can't it? Like we've had a work trip for Rita to Cornwall. So it's been a lot. And in drinking days, I just would have got anxious straight away. Like, we're not going to make it in time. The traffic's going to be awful. There's going to be traffic jams. We're going to be late for appointments. But also, not even that. Oh, what time will I get there so I can get to the bar? Again, it just dictated everything. It was crazy.
It makes a difference, doesn't it?
Yeah, and so we got through that. That was great. But anyway, after that little period of time, Rita, she's had some surgery. So, she's had an operation. So she's at home recuperating. So I've spent the week being Dr. Stroke Nurse Harlow, and I've really got into it, Rich.
Have you?
Honestly, I've made little graphs and charts about when antibiotics should be taken, when jabs should be, what's the difference between paracetamol and ibuprofen. And I've loved it. But there's been a couple of times where Rita's just gone, oh, fuck it, I'm going to have my paracetamol early. I'm like, you're ruining the system. What about the bloody system? But yeah, she's doing great. But again, you know what? It's being available for her, like in years gone by with previous relationships when I was drinking, I would have been like, I can't, what if there was an emergency? What if I'm pissed?
Yeah.
I can't take you to that appointment or begrudgingly do that because it was eating into my drinking time. How awful when somebody you love needs your help, needs you to step up and to be there. So I felt really proud of that. And I know that, Rita's really appreciative. And isn't it lovely just when you've got that, you're just clear-headed and you feel fresh and you've got the energy. It's just lovely knowing, you know what, I'm just giving everything and helping somebody I love and care for feel better. So that's been one role. But my second role of the week, Rich, I've taken on a bit of a side hustle. So I'm now do the odd day delivery driving, which I absolutely bloody love. It's a little nod back to COVID when I was working on the checkout at Tesco, just interaction with people, earning a few pennies, yes, but it's been lovely. And again, it's just been good to have my brain occupied. And, it's going to eat in a little bit into what we're talking about today. But, you're delivering to these people, and sometimes you might be the only connection
Yeah.
with anybody they have that day, out in
Yeah.
the sticks, somebody getting their, parcel delivered. So it's been lovely. And I really love just saying to people, probably overplaying it a bit. They're probably like, geez, is this like a wine? Who is this guy? It is funny, just the people you meet, and it is just all walks of life. It's crazy. But again, just being sober, just embracing it.
Yeah.
There's something about it that I just really, really enjoy. So yeah, delivery driver, doctor stroke nurse Harlow, tick. And you know what? Just getting stuff done. You're preparing for Zurich, and sometimes you just have to like shift your plans a little bit, but being sober, having the clarity, just take a deep breath and be like, you know what, it can work. Nobody's going to die. It's like stuff can work, can't it? And, I've been a little tiny bit worried about you, Rich. I know towards the end of your last stint on tour with Tina, you were mentioning that you were feeling just a bit run down,
Yeah.
trying hard to eat as well as you could. I just wondered how you've been. I know you've had a week off. Has that been a good reboot for you, pal?
It's been a very good reboot. Now, I think the thing is and this is where it sort of links into what we've talked about previously, where even though we're sober and we've got a clear head and a bit more clarity to deal with things, it doesn't give us a free pass at life. Things still crop up and there's still things that happen. We're just better placed to deal with that. And it's still stressful, don't get me wrong. I mean, mate, as you know, I spoke to you about this and I sent you a picture. So I was coming up to the end of the tour, the UK leg of the tour, and it quite often happens, when you're coming to the end of something, your body's starting to go, right, you're coming up to a rest and you start, ailment starts to happen. You start feeling a bit poorly, a bit sick. Now, I wasn't sick, but what I did get was something called blepharitis, which when I saw the doctor, I'd never heard of that word before. And what it was an eye infection in one of my oil producing glands in one of my eyelids. And it ballooned up. It was the itchiest, sorest. It looked disgusting. I looked like the Elephant Man. It was absolutely repulsive. And it closed my eye. So my right eye was completely shut and I couldn't see anything. I was weeping. It was sore. I wasn't sleeping very well. So the last sort of 4 days of being away, I was in a Travelodge as well. We've talked about our hotel stories previously, which I have another one for you as well, actually.
Hopefully, you kept your clothes on, pal. Not like me.
I did. But the good thing is, obviously, in our drinking days, I would have been in that hotel because I was literally, I couldn't watch anything because every time I was trying to watch through one eye, it was giving me a headache. So I was just lying on the bed all day, curtains drawn, just listening to like podcasts and just the radio and stuff. Now, previously, that would have been the green light for me to just get boozed up, call a dealer, whatever that might be, and I would have literally made things absolutely 100% worse than what they already were. But obviously now I don't do that. So I was able to get through it, eventually get enough sight in my eye. I was able to it repaired itself enough for me to be able to get home. Obviously have my week off, and then I sort of now I've had this week off and I'm repaired and everything's back to normal. funny thing did happen to me when I was in the hotel. A guy just let himself into my room, like a there was a homeless guy that lived just outside sort of the Travelodge, and that's where he would hang out with his pals. And I think every so often they give him a room to stay in, which is a lovely thing to do. He can take a shower and stuff. And so I had this big poorly eye, all ballooned up and everything, and suddenly I hear my door go. And I'm like, the hell? So this guy just walks into my room and there's like a little corridor bit before the bed. And he looked at me and he goes, "Oh, sorry, mate, this isn't my room." And I went, "Yeah, I know." He goes, "Oh, I'm in 415, not 215." And I'm like, "But how is your room key opened my?" But then I did, and then something popped up on the BBC saying that Travelodge had been having a lot of issues with people being able to let themselves into other people's rooms.
I read about that.
Yeah, mate, I was just because obviously I wasn't well and I had this eye thing and I was feeling like shit anyway. So it was like I was like, God, this is just one thing after another.
And again, it's kind of like that is tough, isn't it? Even though we are sober and we can deal with ups and downs and, just have a deep breath and think, you know what, things are going to improve. It's going to be all right.
Mm.
I've coped with a lot worse. I can cope with this. But when
Yeah.
you're away from home, again, how funny already, and another little link to loneliness. It can be
Yes.
really hard and really overwhelming, can't it? So I hope you're all right, pal. I hope
Yeah.
you know you got some support from your colleagues, and I know Jem would have been there for you. But it is tough, isn't it?
It is tough. Yeah, it can be, but it just as it links into being able to just live life on life's terms, to actually feel what the problem is instead of masking it with booze and drugs and what have you. So, you know, you go through it, it's tough, but you come out the other side and you haven't destroyed yourself even further. Do you know what I mean? So, and that's fine. So it's been nice to be home. I've been doing a bit of DIY, which I've always done DIY my whole life, and I've never really got
a top chippy, aren't you?
Mate, I've not ever got much better at it, to be honest. So I cleaned on our balcony. I cleaned all the stones like on the top of our balcony, and literally there was just sand, dirt everywhere, and it went all over the wall. And I was like, I can't fucking believe I've done it. It was just a job that was supposed to take half an hour, and it just fucked the whole wall. So that was a nightmare. Then Jem says, "Oh, I think we need a new like shower cable and a new head for the shower." So I thought, I think I'm going to give that a go. It was the wrong link. I turned it on, water everywhere, mate. It's been a disaster. And then I'm like,
the guy from the hotel didn't walk in, did he?
No, he didn't come into
sorry,
my house.
you again, mate.
Sorry, mate. It's not my shower. So that's been a bit. But listen, it's not insurmountable. I can laugh about it now. And I tell you what, the good thing is that kind of stuff, when I was drinking and heavily and in active addiction, that kind of stuff would have sat with me all day. And probably the next day and the day after that. And now you know what it is. I still get angry, as we will still get annoyed, we'll still get upset about things, but I know how to combat that and pass through it and go, this feeling isn't going to last. It's just temporary. And so, so here we are recording at the end, at the end of my week off before I go over to Europe, and feeling good, mate. But
that's so great. That's great. You've had a good reboot, pal.
Thanks, mate. And so, well, just before we get into today's topic, which is loneliness in sobriety, pre-sobriety and during sobriety as well. We'll talk all about what it's like to feel lonely, because I thought that we did the episode where we were talking about support networks and having close friends and family. And I thought not everyone necessarily has that, and it can be a very lonely place to be, even if it's in your own head. So we'll get into that shortly. But let's talk about who's in the frame. So normally this regular feature we have on the podcast is we're in the studio normally, and on our coffee table, we have a picture frame, and we have someone that is inspired us in sobriety, someone whose journey we followed or been made aware of. But obviously we're not in the studio today, but we're still going to do who's in the frame.
This week, I wanted to put in the frame ex-footballers, now pundit, Paul Merson, Arsenal star, Arsenal legend, ended up at my team, Aston Villa, up the Villa for a while. I was lucky enough to meet Paul. I co-hosted a series on YouTube, actually, if people want to have a nose, called Heroes Have Heroes, where Stacey Copeland, my co-host, she's an ex-Commonwealth boxer, 5 Live presenter, she's amazing. But we were chatting to sporting celebrities about who their heroes were. And as soon as I saw Paul Merson on the guest list, I thought, Paul's going to be a great guest. And Stacey was interviewing Paul, so I didn't get to interview him, but I observed and I had a chat with him afterwards. What a humble guy. Really? Now, he first made his issues public in 1994,
right,
which then was absolutely huge within the sporting world. You know, it's a real lad culture, isn't it? Football, lads, beers. So to have the bravery to come out to the public and say, I've got a problem here. And it wasn't just booze either. It's, cocaine, narcotics, gambling, addiction as well. So what a heavy load. And he's had many relapses, many ups and downs. But what I've loved in interviews is he's always been so honest about it, which I think takes such bravery. That takes a lot of courage and shows that he's got such steel. But he was so open about it, about his sobriety, and 7 years in February he's been sober now, which is fantastic. He continues to be such a big advocate for alcohol awareness and just being open about it and using his platform to kind of help people. And honestly, Rich, when I met him, and I love my sport, as you know, I love my footy, but just to meet him and say, oh yeah, at the time we recorded Heroes of Heroes, I think I was just gone 2 years sober. I was like, oh yeah, I'm 2 years alcohol free, and you could see his face, and
Yeah.
to have that little connection with somebody, and to know that I wasn't a bullshitter saying I really admire you. Like, I'm sure he gets that a lot, but
Yeah.
to say like I really do admire you. I know how tough it is. So I just think, you know, for his bravery, he's such a humble, lovely, lovely chap, an amazing footballer. Of course, he's a great pundit too. But I just thought, for, you know, having that empathy for people going through issues he did, through being so open and so humble with it as well, and so likeable, that yeah, in the frame this week, Paul Merson up the Villa. Episode 7 has had some great debate. The 12 steps, what they are, what they aren't. It's out there now. That's live, where, Rich, you guide me through the process. And for me, that was so fascinating. And it is all about what works for you, isn't it? That's why we love chatting, because we come at sobriety from different ways. And, you know, it's no surprise that people who weren't aware of what the AA really is, there's been some really interesting debate on the socials. Don't forget, we're on Instagram, on TikTok as well. But that doesn't surprise me, does it, you, Rich?
No, it doesn't surprise me whatsoever, because the whole reason why we wanted to do that particular episode was to try and show people what that process is, you know, because there are a lot of misconceptions about it, and people think you're going to be indoctrinated into some kind of cult or something like that, which it obviously isn't. And we obviously cover that in the episode. And it's been very interesting to see the social media and the messages we've had and the emails we've had about that particular episode, and also people that clearly haven't watched or listened to the episode that are still kind of in that same mindset of what they think it is. So all we can do is encourage you to go and listen to it or watch it, and hopefully bust some myths, as we said on that particular episode, about how the 12 steps work and how it's been so beneficial for millions and millions of people worldwide, and continues to be so. But as you said, Ben, it's not the only way. It's one of the ways. Some people need that framework, that structure, and some people are able to just make that decision if they don't necessarily have, you know, an addictive personality, or they just want to make some healthy changes. And so we're advocates for a healthy life. And if you want to stop drinking, whatever works for you, we're massively supportive of that, aren't we?
Yeah, and we continue to get so many lovely messages, Rich. I've got another one this week from the lovely Amy. She emailed the pod. Don't forget, you can email. I've remembered it this time, at thesobermen@gmail.com. No, it's wrong. Fuck. At thesobermenpod@gmail.com.
That's the one. At the sobermenpod@gmail.com.
We need to have like Andre Agassi-esque headbands with the email address on. Yeah, definitely. So here we go. This is from Amy, Rich. Just a quick one. Hi, Rich and Ben. I'm really enjoying your new pod. Thank you, Amy. I'm stuck at the moment. I go through phases of sobriety, then start drinking again, then sobriety, then drinking again. So that cycle, which, you know, I've done a few days off. I'll be all right, back on it. I can't seem to make not drinking stick. Despite working, I feel so hard at it. I really cut down my drinking. I managed to knock drinking at home on the head, but I'm hit and miss socially. Sometimes I feel like I should drink so people don't think I'm boring, and sometimes I just want to and think, fuck it. But I always come back to not wanting to drink. Will I ever manage it? I'm feeling like a failure. These days I drink a lot less and less often, but I just can't seem to stop completely despite wanting to. I know I want to because I keep coming back to learning about not drinking and listening to podcasts like yours. Thank you so much, Amy. Well, Amy, that's such another lovely message. We do really appreciate it, don't we, Rich? And I remember replying to this straight away, like, Amy, 100%, you are not a failure. The fact that you're trying, the fact that you're finding your route to sobriety is to be hugely commended. And, you know, I say, well done, 100% well done.
I agree. And also saying that when she says that she'll get sober for a while, then she'll fall back into it, and then she'll get out of it again, then she'll fall back into it. That is a very common pattern. Yeah. It's very common to, you know, I've got even a week or a month or a year even, and then find your way back into it. It's where it's one of those moments where, again, not to talk about the 12 steps on every episode, but it's one of those frameworks, the structure for me personally, I had that structure and that community and that unity with people to be able to share the things that she just shared, in the message to us with a group of people that have been through the same thing. And so it's very common, and she's doing so well. And even just writing in to us and being open about how she's feeling, about where she's at, she's not keeping it to herself. And that's the first step, isn't it? That's the first step, giving it over, being open about it, finding someone to talk to, sending a message and saying, I need a bit of help. And also for a little bit of support and a little bit of, if we can be there to help people, and show people that it is possible. And if you keep going, just hang in there. Even if you have a setback, listen, we're always going to welcome you back with open arms and say, well done, let's start again, here we go. Because sometimes it does take a little while for people to get sober, especially if you've got, if you're really deep in it and deep in the mire, and you've been drinking for many years, or even a couple of years heavily. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time just to find your level and find your balance. You go, right, I'm ready now, and no, hopefully there'll be no more slip ups. But it does happen, and no one's going to criticize and no one's going to condemn you if you fall back into your old ways. We'd just be there to say, okay, line under, let's start again. So Amy, thank you so much for messaging. As you said, Ben, we get so many messages and emails from so many wonderful people, and it's just lovely to know that we're reaching people and we're building a community of support, which is what we wanted to do.
Yeah, completely. And I love the fact that she mentions, that she finds it hard socially. And again, with the podcast, all these subjects that people write in about, we've covered already. So if you're new to the pod, if you just dived in for episode 8 for this episode, there are 7 episodes that you can enjoy as well about, social, how do you survive socially? How do you cope with that? We cover everything, and it's just great that now your response is fueling our chat, which we love. And just one final little shout out is a great chum of the pod on TikTok, Adam Petson, who runs the Step on Recovery page. Give it a look, follow him on TikTok. He's a great guy, and he's so supportive of the pod. Thank you so much, Adam. And Step on Recovery, check it out, guys. That's one of thousands of great pages up there if you just want little nuggets of sobriety help as well. So thank you, everybody, for all your messages. We love it.
Shall we get into today's topic properly then, Ben? So as we said, as we said, we did the episode where finding a support network and finding people close to you that you can talk to and rely on. But it got me thinking, sometimes people don't have that. And if you're out there listening and you feel alone and lonely, it might be difficult for you to know, well, what am I supposed to do? How can I share this? How can I share this problem that I'm going through? How can I open up to someone? You might be, I don't know, you might be a single parent, and you're having to parent your child, and you gets to like 9 o'clock and the kids are in bed and you've had a day of it, and that's your kind of comfort. That's your go-to to help you just navigate the evening. You could be an older person that's maybe not able to get out of the house as much, and you may have had years of drinking. There's so many people. You might be a young person that feels misunderstood and they don't know how to, talk about how they're feeling. They haven't maybe emotionally grown enough to be able to totally open up in a mature way. And there may be social people who have social jobs that feel isolated and alone in your own head even. So Ben, tell me, for you, did you feel lonely before you got sober? And if you did, what kind of loneliness was that? Was it because you're a social guy? You're everyone's friend, and you've always got a big smile and a hug for everyone, even when you were struggling, because we didn't know you were struggling. You were putting on a mask, as you said before in previous episodes. But were you lonely when you were alone per se, and were you struggling privately and you didn't know how to open up? How did that feel in your own head?
Oh, Rich, it's such a good question. I still get lonely. I'm almost 3 years sober. I still get lonely. But there is a difference knowing that it's just because I might have been in the house for a day by myself. Rita might have been away working. So I've had 2, 3, 4 days by myself. Luckily now, we have a dog, and that's a
Yep.
wonderful companion as well. So I'm so grateful for lovely little Betty, our Cocker Spaniel. It's the difference is, Rich, because I know that loneliness is only temporary, because I know through circumstance, through life, that my loved one is returning home, is coming back home, and I know that I can pick up the phone to friends if I'm worried or just want to chat, or a bit of a giggle, or family as well. When you're still drinking, when I was still drinking, I was so lonely. It's so interesting, Rich. You said that you couldn't tell when you met me because it was a facade. And it's really interesting because now that I am sober, I don't think I am that social. I don't think
Really?
I don't think I am the person that people painted me to be when I was drinking. The funny guy, always funny on stage, so he'll be funny in the pub. I wasn't even that funny in the pub because I was probably pissed after 4 or 5 pints most nights
Right.
whilst on tour. And it was exhausting and draining playing the part of somebody who, from the outset, is the life and soul of the party, who, oh, Ben will cheer us up if the chips are down, Ben will boost morale.
Yeah.
And that, anyway, mentally is draining when you might be feeling low. But when you are struggling with the thought, which I had for a long, long, long time, that this alcohol isn't for me, this is not me, then it becomes a really lonely place. So the juxtaposition is crazy because I'm there, giving it some bad moves in a club after a show, 3,000 people entertained. I was semi-good. You got away with it for another performance. That'll do. Let's get to the bar. The juxtaposition of people thinking that my life was sorted and that I was this effervescent party guy to what was going on in my head. The contrast is crazy, and that loneliness is a hell of a lot worse now compared to now that I am sober, knowing that if I'm lonely just through circumstance, that it's only temporary. But when you're feeling that lonely and when you are drinking, when there's almost like a pressure on you to be that person, to be that type, it's just so draining. And because you're putting all this extraneous energy onto yourself from other people and the pressure to be the life and soul, it's exhausting, and it makes dealing with your root concerns and worries even harder, because it's like, I've got to strip away all this crap before I can even begin to deal with what I'm worried about, which was drinking too much. And even begin to approach anybody. That's why, like, Amy's email is amazing, because she's had the courage to do that. I didn't know where to start, and that becomes really lonely as well. So when you're drinking, when you're hungover, you kind of cope with it when you are pissed in a pub, because that's the present. You don't think about how I'm going to be feeling tomorrow. You don't think about how I'm going to be rotting away in bed somewhere random on tour, knowing the truth is I hate myself. I've got to G myself up for a show tonight. I've got to, go to the pub again, make people happy. When you know that is not you, facing an alcohol problem is so difficult. Honestly, it's like one of the hardest things of having to play that role, knowing that deep down you're just not that person. It's so refreshing now that 3 years sober, like, literally, Rita won't drink much. She'll just have a glass of wine. I don't drink, and that now is my happy. Who'd have thought? When I think of all the money I wasted, all those opportunities to embrace being on tour, like properly explore where I am on tour around the world, because I was just worried about getting pissed. That's all I did. That is all I did. What a waste. So it's just joyous to know that I don't have that anymore, that maybe life and soul of the party Ben is happiest at home with his slip. I've discovered slippers, by the way. Bloody hell. On a bloody leather-sized 12 slipper. Whoa. But that and a bowl of cashew nuts, honestly, it beats any bar, any nightclub, any, party after a big show. It just does. And it's really interesting that, that's the first time I've said that actually, or out loud, that I don't think I am that sociable. And
Mm.
that's my happy now. It's the contrast is crazy, Rich.
It's so interesting to me to hear you say that, because obviously when we first met and became friends years and years ago, you were that guy. And I thought, and
Mm,
not really understanding my problem at that time, in my head, I would have thought, how on earth could you ever be lonely? Because you could entertain yourself if it was just you alone in a paper bag, you'd be entertained because you were that effervescent and you were that larger than life. But obviously, going through what we've both been through now, we recognize that those feelings were very superficial at the time, weren't they? Because
yeah.
like you said, you're able to make other people laugh, but you're crying inside because
Yeah.
you knew you were struggling with the problem, and you knew that something had to change eventually, and it was very difficult to admit that. And when you get to that point where you need to talk about it but you can't, you feel so alone and so isolated in your own head. And I can totally relate to that. I had a similar experience, really, because again, and we've talked about this in a previous episode, I created a character for myself, party boy,
Oh,
all back to mine,
yeah.
and like you said, yes, there's an element of when you're drinking, and when I was high, I can deal with that. But even then, even now, I remember there were still moments then when I'd have 10 seconds, 30 seconds, and I'd look around, and it'd be in my, if I was working on a cruise ship, it'd be a cabin party in my car, or it was back to my flat in London, or whatever that might be. And I'd look around and I go, what am I doing? What is this? It's
Yeah.
4 a.m. It's like, I don't know half of these people. This person's I work with, but it's not even my friend. Like, and actually my real mates, my family, no one's here. Like, what am I doing? And it, those moments would make me feel really isolated and really alone and really,
That's so interesting, Rich. Even when you were high or when you were pissed, you were feeling then that,
yeah.
what am I doing? This isn't
But
right.
then, yeah, but then it was like sort of the next day when you're hungover, or you come down, you've not had much sleep or whatever, you kind of you don't think about, I certainly didn't, you don't think about those 30 seconds where you had that fear, because then you just go, oh, I was just pissed, or I was just high, or it's just, oh, it's fine now. As we've said before, in a few days, it'll be okay. And you can
Yeah.
go again, but it's progressive. It's progressive. And each time it happens, it gets worse and worse and worse, to a
Doesn't it
point.
escalate?
Yeah.
Wow. Oh,
Yeah. It's to a point where, and if anyone's listening that has got to this point where they might live on their own, they may have children, they may not. They may have a job, they might not. Sitting in your house, having, you know, ostracized a friendship group, ostracized a family, as I did, and sitting there and going, I'm not answering the phone to anyone. I'm not calling anyone. And now, because I keep doing that, no one's calling me. And I'm sitting there and I'm going, is this my life now? Is this what it's like? And I remember you saying that you were at that point where you're thinking, I'm thinking of going for a long walk with a rucksack, and that's going to be it. I was definitely in
yeah.
that place, having an iPad, trying to leave a message for when I wasn't here, so
Oh,
people would understand how bad I felt at that time, because I had so many deep rooted addiction and dependency issues. I didn't know a way out, and in my brain, I was so lonely, and I was so alone, and I was so unhappy, and I didn't know how to get out of it. And it, again, for the character that I'd built for 25 years, people probably couldn't understand why is he not answering the phone? Why is he not, well, he's normally so bubbly. But I almost got to a point where I was character, that character couldn't show a weakness. That character couldn't fall
yeah.
apart, because then I didn't know who I was inside. But I'm lucky it's not like that today. It's not like that. And it was a very sad, lonely time. And I would just emphasize to anyone that's listening that feels that way, or feels isolated and feels so lonely because they think no one's going to understand. maybe they don't have anyone to speak to. What would you say, Ben? Because I would say if you, to start remedying that, what I would say and suggest would be to try and go somewhere where connection genuinely exists. Like, listen, online is great. You can find communities and you can talk to people, but I don't think there's any substitute for that sort of face-to-face connection. Things like clubs, sort of gyms, creative spaces, obviously, you know, fellowship, meetings, that kind of stuff, sort of groups and local communities. And that's not easy to do because if you're feeling that, you know, fragile, to be able to put yourself in that environment is difficult. But what would you say would be where to start for anyone feeling lonely and alone and not knowing what to do, and that might not have anyone very, very close to them? Where to start trying to put some positive steps into place to try and help them become themselves again?
Well, firstly, Rich, thank you for sharing what you've just shared. Just, you know, the stage you got to when you were low and that lonely. And I know what that's like. I know what it's like when you've just lost yourself. You just lost, you're just floating in life. And it's not even the only choice because it's just part of you, isn't it? To, you know, to use or to get pissed, and you're just fueling such sadness, such unhappiness that I remember when I was at that stage, it was such a blinkered, lonely existence. And I did not know the right way forward. I didn't know, I couldn't see anything. I couldn't see the world getting better. The number of times I'd just sit in the pub and, you know, by myself, I'd cry in the beer garden. I found a couple of friends. I found a great friend of mine, Sean, who's a dear friend, just broke down in tears. Just so low, so sad.
Yeah.
But slowly but surely, I've mentioned it quite a bit, but just getting out and just, even if you can have a 1 or 2 line connection with somebody, be it in the supermarket, be it at the bus stop, be it in the post office, be it wherever outside your house, it just pricks that doom and gloom. I find it just gives you a little jolt almost of, okay, there's a life away from this. There's a life going on around my sadness, around my loneliness.
Yeah.
And because when you are feeling like that, I can feel the anxiety now, Rich, of how I used to feel. It was like a suit of armor of depression and anxiety, of just I couldn't even talk. Like my voice would disappear almost because I'd just got nothing to give, no joy in my life anymore. But slowly but surely, just the odd bit of connection, it does give you a little prick of, okay, you know, life's going on here. I'm still here. I can move forward. Likewise, if I've had a really tough day, or I did have a really tough day, just, you know, having a radio on, something simple as that, because you feel like you've got company at home. I know, you know, I've Radio 2 LBC, and I put it on straight away in the morning. It's one of my little morning rituals now. You know, pick up Betty's dog shit, if she has, get the coffee on the go, LBC on, and it's just like, and it's almost like a little kind of anchor to your day. It's like a little timetable to your day. All these little things that make you feel that you're just not alone can be so helpful. So a little bit of interaction, a little bit of, you know, radio, even a bit of music, some music that you just love, that you can just, if you can forget about your worries for a few moments, then I think music's fantastic. But then, you know, beyond that, when you've slowly built up your bricks of confidence, or even just a little bit, there are some fantastic groups. I know a couple of friends of mine have gone to, I think it's Andy's Man Club, which they run nationally, you know, just a support group, and they do fantastic work. And again, it's just being with people, and you don't have to contribute. You can just sit and absorb. And when you know, much like the AA, it's a group of people where there's no judgment. And as a bloke, especially, you can just listen, and then slowly, when you realise that, oh, I can relate to that problem. Oh, Christ, like, actually, what I'm going through isn't quite as bad as that. All these little facets of other people's lives can help buoy you, I think. So anything like that is great. If you like your sport, every Monday, if I go and top the car up at Morrison's, there'll be like a pensioners walking football club on the five-a-side next to the garage.
Great.
So there's stuff out there. We've got a local library, and there's always little coffee mornings, and increasingly coffee shops are holding like book clubs and things like that. That it doesn't have to be instant, but if you can just think that, oh, I'm just going to take a deep breath and give something a go, you'll be amazed how lovely and kind and opening people are in all facets of life. And that is when you begin to realize my life is worth living. Life can be a brighter place. It doesn't have to be this dark.
It's finding something or trying to access something or in your local area, somewhere that's not too overwhelming to get to, and building connections where it's not alcohol led. So it's not the pub, it's not the social club. It's like you said, it could be walking football. It could be, and I think it's probably a good idea. And I found this myself, building a routine into your day. If you don't have routine, or if you do have maybe a work routine, but building something for yourself that's routine, like you just said, you go to the coffee shop same time every day, and you might see the same person in there. You just say hello, and after a while, you know them by name, and that's a bit of a connection. It's a small connection, but nevertheless,
it's a win, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it is, and I think building those connections, it's quality, not quantity. So you don't need to go out and make 15 best mates. It's impossible, isn't it? Yeah. But building those connections where, if you go to, I don't know, like a gym club, you just go and do some forward rolls, or you do a little bit of stretching or yoga. It does take a bit of time, doesn't it? Just like when you start getting sober, it takes a bit of time to get into it. Building those connections to combat sort of your loneliness and your what's going on in your own head. Go to a yoga class, and it might take 5, 6, 7 weeks before eventually you might chat to someone that is the same as you, or might have same interests, or you go, Jem, my wife Jem, she goes to like an aerial class, where they're doing all the hoops and everything. And there was a lady there who just moved to the area, and Jem's very friendly. She'll talk to people, and she'll welcome them in, because she knows what that's like when you go. And this lady said, I want to go and watch the new Wicked film, but I've got no one to watch it with. Jem's like, I'll go with you. So they went to the cinema and it just literally, it was organic, but it was something. My point is, it wasn't something that she expected to come out of that particular event that she was doing that day. But how that can link into your sobriety journey and feeling, lonely whilst you're going through that. If you can build a genuine connection where eventually you could almost hand over maybe a problem or a situation or something that's happened, even if it's just someone that you can have a coffee with that might not be your best mate, that you can go, I've had a bit of a bad day today. Yeah, I fell out with my boss, or that my next door neighbour's fence fell down and they'd never fix it. And so it's finding something that you can talk about, isn't it? Because that spiral of silence it
can just escalate. And
yeah.
And when I was drinking, the number of times I'd start like an activity, like I think once I started aerobic tennis aerobics.
I've never heard of that.
So I was there practicing my drop shot to Earth, Wind and Fire.
Well, they just play like music with the speakers, and you just,
so it's like aerobic exercise, but essentially I'll just like sod the backhand. I want to have a boogie to some music, but again, it would be like, that would be in a period of my life where I'd be like, right, I'm going to get fit and healthy now, but of course the drinking would come back. So all these course. But there would be flickers in those experiences of trying something new, of trying to make connection, of the penny dropping, like,
Yeah.
oh, can life be like this? This is lovely. I'm making
Mm.
connections here. I'm not thinking about the next pint or thinking about the pub. But of course,
Yeah.
something in life would happen where I'd reprogram myself to going back to the pub. But
Yeah.
now in sobriety, when you do try something new, like Jem accepted that invitation, and it's
Yeah.
like sometimes you do have to be brave enough to try that, because sometimes you're just cutting off any kind of activity socially
Mm.
in
Yeah.
your life. You can miss out on so many interesting connections and experiences.
Yeah.
Um, so what I love about sobriety now, it's I have that little flicker, that feeling I had, mid tennis aerobics, um, every day, because it's like,
Yeah.
yes, I'm not social. That's the reality. I'm not social, but I bloody love a nice little chat if I'm out having a coffee or with
Yeah.
somebody at Tesco or somebody I'm delivering a parcel to,
Mm.
and it's so rewarding for me. I get so much from it, and if you just even if you just ask the question like, "How are you?" Sometimes
Yeah.
people won't be asked that in a whole week, in 2 weeks,
Yeah.
and
Because you never
so
know what someone's going through, do you?
yeah, exactly, and it's just
Yeah.
what I find just mid chat, Rich. We're just chatting about you know loneliness when drinking. Looking back, I don't want to get too heavy here, but I think I was quite a lonely child. Like, you know, my dad wasn't really around, and spent a
Mm.
lot of time by myself, really.
Mm.
So of course, when it became okay to drink, kind of course I chucked myself into it, because it's like that escapism,
Yeah.
becoming somebody that I wasn't, and so now it's like such a full circle of now I've stripped the booze away. I'm learning to kind of be me again, almost. And
Yeah.
three
Yeah.
years in, it's still as fascinating as ever.
You still feel
And
you're
that,
learning stuff.
yeah, still learning
Yeah.
stuff. Still
Yeah.
learning stuff about myself. The
Mm.
fact that, I'd rather be on the sofa than in a pub. Who
Yeah.
would have thought? Jesus.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
also just knowing that, just having that open-mindedness to say hi to somebody, because it really can make your day. It really can make your day. But
Mm.
I'm so with you, Rich, on, opportunities, connections with people physically can
Yeah.
can be can be lovely, however big or small.
Yeah. It's just finding it, as we said, routine and purpose as well, isn't it? If you feel
Yeah.
you've got a purpose that isn't just
Yeah.
drinking and going to the pub or buying a bottle of wine, or if your routine is that, then it's about flipping that on its head and trying to find a new routine that is going to be beneficial for your life and for your health rather
Yeah.
than just sitting and drinking. And listen, I'm not saying it's easy. If you might be quite an introverted person, and so
Yeah.
you might feel no one's going to care, no one's going to be interested. I'm going to be a burden if I sort of put myself out there. Join a club, join the local youth theatre or the operatic society, whatever that might be. Walking football, it is very difficult, and I'm not, far be it, as we always said, far be it from us to be preachy and say, do this, do that.
Mm.
No, sometimes I don't want to go outside the house. I don't want to go and meet new people. Sometimes it's just your social battery is just low. And if you kind of run on empty regularly like that, it is difficult. But I'm saying from my own experience,
Mm.
even when I'm uncomfortable, to put myself out there and try to, like you said, say hello to someone, go and sit somewhere, maybe chat to
Yeah.
someone sitting in the park, just something that gives you a little bit of balance apart from being in your own head. And
Yeah.
of course, as we always say, if there is a lot of help available in 12-step fellowships and
Yeah.
sponsorship and those kind of online help as well, that if you feel that doing that is not going to be enough to stop you drinking. Obviously, there are more communities that you can invest yourself into to help that with other like-minded people. But also, if you feel you can if you just want to change your habits, um, that's what's important. I think you just change your habits, like achievable tasks every
Yeah.
day.
And also tasks that don't have to exhaust you mentally. What you
No.
mentioned there about the social battery, that's so important. Like, still
Mm,
listen to yourself, listen to your body. You know,
mm,
it's very important to have that quiet time. But I think that quiet time will be even more peaceful, even more calm when you have got that balance of just
yeah,
try and get out once a day. Some people just don't get out, do they? You know,
yeah,
of course some
that's
people
right.
can't, but even if you can just push yourself for 5-10 minutes of fresh air, you
Mm,
never know. You know, I take Betty for a walk most mornings, and you know, there's a chap in the park who we're just on waving terms back. But
yeah.
again, just another lovely connection. And what'd be lovely, I'm just interested, you know, we've mentioned a few things that might help. You know, again, Rich, as we always say, just suggestions from us. But if any listeners want to let us know, you know, what helps them
Yes.
socially, what helps
Yeah.
them just kind of get out of the house, kind of, you know, to feel less lonely if you do feel lonely, that, you know, we
Mm.
can pass on to other listeners.
Yeah, I'd love that because when you feel, when do you feel most lonely? Write in and let us know, and then obviously
Yeah.
that helps because if we can read out as we do emails and messages from other
Yeah, yeah.
people, it then shows you that you're not alone, and there are other people going through the same thing. And again, I'm not saying you have to bound down the street like stroking every dog and like kissing every baby and like bursting into the local Aldi and
Yeah.
cartwheeling down the aisles. Of
I
course, you
do
don't
do
have
that
to do that.
sometimes, Rich.
But it's just doing something that gets you, as we said before, sort of gets you out of your own head. Because
Yeah.
also, when you have, if you're getting some fresh air and you're trying to talk to people and build some connections, whether that's locally or a bit further afield, whatever. If you're doing that whilst hungover or you're
Oh,
drinking, it could be very devastating and traumatic because you don't, of course, it's again, we've said it's progressive and you get what is a spiral of
yeah.
disaster. You just keep going down and down. You
Yeah.
can't get out and do that. But, I remember early sobriety, if I had those fleeting moments of, I want to have a drink or I want to have a use up or whatever, I go, do you know what? I'm going to go out. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to the park. I'm going to, and,
Yeah.
and that sort of phenomenon of craving starts to dissipate because you're
Yeah.
focusing your mind on something else. Um,
But
yeah,
also, don't forget, guys, that we know that it's hard. We know that
yeah,
if you are suffering and you do feel lonely,
mm,
Rich and I, we've both been there, and it's
yeah.
crippling. And but all we can say is it doesn't have to last forever. Like
It's temporary. Yeah,
it's temporary. That feeling will pass.
yeah,
You know, maybe it might take longer for some people, but
mm,
it will pass, and you'll get that lovely little glimmer of hope again that life can be okay. Life
mm.
is okay.
And also, if you make one connection with someone, just someone that you can
Yeah,
talk to, if you haven't got anyone that's very close to you, if you can just make that one or find that little connection, just to sit and have a coffee and just tell someone that you're having a bad day, because we used to use alcohol and drugs instead of talking, and now we
yeah.
talk 19 to the dozen, and we're not drinking and using, and
Ah,
we can advocate that it is better. And it's,
yeah,
try to just don't be nervous about opening up and talking
yeah,
about someone. Get what's in your head out. Take the
yeah,
power
yeah.
out of it, and it can really help, can't it, Ben? So
Yeah,
there we
oh,
go.
completely. Take, like you say, Rich, take the power out of it,
Yeah.
and that's such a big chunk of the battle, because
Yeah.
you'll realise that the number of times when I just didn't talk to people, and it just escalates and escalates. And the crazy thing is, when you are sober, it's like all the pennies have dropped. It's like, oh God, why didn't I wish I'd discovered this feeling years ago? But
Yeah.
no, it was finishing a show, dicking about in a pub, getting smashed. And then imagine me, 6'6", Bruce Forsyth-esque, in a nightclub. I used to go to nightclubs. Can you believe it?
I used to love a nightclub.
Now I'd go in my bloody slippers.
And we haven't got all the answers, and
No.
we don't know. Obviously, everyone is an individual and everyone
Yeah.
has different problems to battle with. But we're not going to be so blasé that, everyone's the same and just do this, just go out for a walk and it's be okay. It's just a few little suggestions of what worked for us and what we've seen work for other people, just to try and help you combat that kind of feeling alone and isolated in your own head.
Yeah, beautifully put, as always, Rich. And actually, a
Thanks,
little
mate.
surprise for you, mate.
Oh, go on.
So, you led us beautifully through episode 7. I just want to read this out for you. Just bear with. See, Mr. Technical. Guys, if you actually are listening to this, be amazed because we had to set up as no Azim this week.
No.
We had to set up remotely. So hopefully you're listening to us. But yeah, we're the least tech people ever. But we did it, Rich. We did it.
We did.
And so here we go. Now, this is from your sister, Rich. Hannah, is that right?
Yeah,
so
Hannah,
Hannah supports the pod. She's great. And, you know, Rich, I'm so proud of you. I just literally just thought, I'm going to find this because you deserve to hear it.
going to make me cry, is this?
No. Well, you know what? If it does, who cares? It's like, this is a safe space, pal. And God, I've cried enough on this pod, so maybe it's your turn. Anyway, this is from your sister regarding episode 7. The 12 steps, what they are, what they aren't. What a powerful episode. As Richard's sister, I'm crying. Jesus Christ. I'm so proud of you.
You're going to set
I'm
me
so
off.
fucking proud of you, Rich. Oh, God. Talk about clarity of emotions when you're sober.
Oh, yeah, feel it.
Here we go. As Richard's sister, I'm unbelievably proud of the amount of work Rich has done on himself to live a happy, healthy, and honest life. Hopefully that will resonate with people to follow the same path. You guys are winning at life.
Wow.
This is me trying to be young, heart emoji. Oh, God, that really surprised me then. I've read this earlier today. So Rich, it's like from your sister, that's beautiful when you said earlier that you got to the stage like, how can I work an iPad to film a message if I do say cheerio
Yeah.
I hope you know how proud your family and your friends and, you know, I think as our community grows, the listeners are of you. You're a bloody great guy.
And you.
You help us all each week. And I just wanted to read that. I denied, but I was like, no, fuck it. Like, as we say, it's nice to give ourselves a pat on the back. Sobriety is fucking hard. But you're doing it in 5 years plus now, Rich, and I just wanted to share that with you.
I didn't know she'd written that, so I'll drop her a message. And it's quite interesting because when I hear her say things like that, I just remember when we were kids and I used to tie her up with a dressing gown belt, take off my sock and put my bare foot in her face.
That could be the last message she sends the pod.
So how we've grown, you know, but it is obviously lovely, and it's you know, and I continue to work hard on myself to make sure that my family are continue to be proud of me. And there was a time when, you know, five years ago where I nearly wasn't here, and like obviously I wouldn't have been around to hear that kind of message. So it's very touching, and I mate, I do appreciate it. And listen, we're being realistic in that we still have to work every day to keep ourselves, you know, sober and clean, and so we can keep on sharing the message and helping other people, because that's why, you know, we're not on this podcast to say, hey guys, look at us, aren't we amazing? We're on this podcast to go, we were fucked, we were really fucked, and we managed to find our way out of it. This is how we did it. We're not perfect and we still make mistakes, but we're living a better, more positive life now because we found a way out. And if we can inspire you or help you or suggest things that can help you do the same thing, job done for us. And that's where we're at, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, that's all we're doing, isn't it? Just sharing our story, and you know, the response has been lovely, and we're just going to keep ploughing. And yeah, it's lovely. We're recording this, listeners and viewers, on a Friday evening. It's probably gone, I don't know, 7 o'clock now. I'd be pissed by now. I'd be pissed, like stumbling to the loo from the beer garden after a couple of stinking, like, you know, grot bags after a few fags on a Friday. The contrast is crazy, and here we are having a lovely chat.
Do you know what I'm going to say? So we've referenced Worzel Gummindge and grot bags. So anyone that's under the age of 35, just go on YouTube and Worzel Gummindge and grot bags, and you'll understand what we used to look like and what we used to feel like. That's what I'll say. Anyone that's Gen X, you won't need to do that because you understand exactly what it is. But mate, yeah, it's wonderful. And obviously, I encourage everyone just to keep emailing in at thesobermenpod@gmail.com. Follow us on TikTok and on Instagram. Keep telling us your stories because, and if you're happy, we always ask if anyone emails in or messages in, we always say, do you mind if we read this out on the pod? Because obviously some people want to remain anonymous, but it is so lovely to hear from people. And also it's so nice to hear, the positive ways in which sobriety has changed the people that are listening's lives as well. So just keep doing that. And to my sister, she's got my phone number, so she can just message me directly from now on. But I do appreciate it. It's so lovely of her to message that, and I find that really touching. So, mate, all this talking. Mate. Thank you, mate. All this talking is making me a little thirsty. So another regular feature that we have on the podcast is our drink of the week. We're talking about how, because we're recording remotely and we're not in the studio, normally we try this drink together, and we would say, well, how are we going to do that? So I went and I got this drink today, and so I sent you a little screenshot, and I said, right, I've got this drink as my drink of the week. Why don't you go and get the same thing, and we'll try it together. So that's what we're going to do. So this is drink of the week, and this is by the brand Heath, and it's from Aldi, isn't it, Ben? Do you want to tell us about it?
Yes. So I was there with my phone looking at all these juices, and people must be thinking, God, who's this weirdo? Yeah, it looks good. And I've got it nice and cold. Is yours chilled, Rich? Yeah,
mine's chilled. So
it's immune support, which is good. I felt a little bit, it's been a busy week in and out the delivery van and playing Dr. Harlow. So this could be just what I needed. Yeah, Heath immune support. Looks good, eh?
And this one is there are different flavors, excuse me, but the ones that we've got here it's the turmeric juice shot. And I checked it. I have a little app called Yucca, which is on the phone, and you can zap the barcodes of all products, even obviously food, drink, all that kind of stuff, but even cleaning products, and it will give you a score out of 100. And I think this was 79 or 80 out of 100. So and then it gives you the list of the ingredients and the things, preservatives, if there are any, that kind of stuff, and what's healthy. And this one came out really well. So it's by the brand Heath from Aldi, immune support, turmeric juice shot. Should we give it a go, Ben?
Yeah, here we go.
Right. Okay.
Has it got ginger in as well?
Yeah, it's got ginger. It's nice. It's got a little.
Turmeric is good. I've got dodgy knees. Turmeric's supposed to be. Is it turmeric or turmeric? Turmeric, isn't it?
Turmeric. Oh, turmeric. Yes, you're right. I do apologise. I'm such a Philistine.
No, I think I got it wrong as well. But yeah, it's good for your knees. High in vitamin C, no added sugar.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that's really nice.
It's got a nice little kick. Great. If you're just, I guess, I've got a really busy schedule, just for a little boost of goodness, right?
Yeah, that's right. And it's not expensive. I think it was like maybe less than £1. And like you said, if you need a little boost, have a go on that one. I was just thinking, it's been years since I've taken a shot of anything, and that was like kind of like straight.
I used to, that's the nuts thing. Even in my drinking days, Rich, I used to hate shots.
Did you?
What was the aniseed one? Sambuca.
Oh, Sambuca, that was no, but no more. Only the immune support shots from now on.
And you can still DM us for the 10% off the authentic brew bundle as well. We've still got that going. So give us a shout if you want the code for that. But that was lovely. And Rich, that was worth another little trip to Aldi for. And they've got some good stuff. They have got some really good stuff. Well, Ben, listen, I'm going to leave you to be Dr. Harlow for the rest of the evening.
Yes, love to read, so I hope she continues to make a recovery.
Some dinner. Yeah, she's doing great. So I'm really proud of her. Time to make a bit of dinner, I think, and get the weekend going, which is great. A sober weekend. Feels so different. I love it.
So that was episode 8. That was loneliness and sobriety that we had a conversation about today. So I hope there's something that might help anyone listening out there. Continue to listen and subscribe and like and all that kind of stuff that we always say on the podcast. It's been another wonderful chat, Ben, and we'll see you all on the next one.
Yeah, it's been great, Rich. And don't forget to lock your front door, otherwise I might come surprise you in the shower like your friend at the Travelodge. Great to see you, Rich.
See you later.